So, good evening, everyone. Tonight is Wednesday, October 18th. We are at the Town Hall. This is the Economic Development Commission meeting. And in attendance is Inga Hotelling,
Serena Fuller,
Greg Diley,
Craig Samuelson.
Jack Cody.
Frank Grillo.
Amber Bach.
This meeting is being recorded and we are also on Zoom. So I put in front of everyone's place the agenda for tonight's meeting. And the first question I'd like to ask is, do you want me to make copies of the agenda or do you want to bring your own?
I prefer if they're here personally.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think that's a good idea in case somebody forgets. They'll have meetings.
And what my thought is if I'm going to put together the agenda, then what I'll do is I'll put together 9 separate files each week or each meeting and have any of the other pertinent information in those files so that you don't have to worry if we're exchanging some material back and forth to each other to make copies of that as well. So I've made a few copies tonight, but going forward, I'll make sure it's a complete packet then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that-
That's why if someone's not here, they can
Yeah.
have it. Okay,
Right.
that makes sense.
Right, okay. And I also want to say that we're not going to run these meetings as formally as like the select board runs or other commissions. Obviously, when we're going to agree on something, then I'll make a motion and then we can have a conversation about that or accept it. But I want to keep things a little bit less formal. So is there any opposition to that?
Now, I've read the manual about meetings and select boards, and it says there's no necessity to use Robert's Rules of Order.
Right.
It's a choice of the person running the meeting.
Right. Okay, so for, do I hear a motion to accept keeping things somewhat informal?
I move to keep them informal.
Okay, good. So, I want to just do a little housekeeping first, and Serena already signed this, but Amber, this is the card for Mike. I'd love to put a personal message, and do you have his mailing address?
Yes. Do you want me to mail it?
If you can,
Sure.
or if you can just send it to me, because I've got a cute little sticker I'm going to put on it as well,
Oh,
and I'm going to put a gift
sure.
certificate in
I'll do
it
that.
as well. So you can just email that to me. That'd be great. I don't know if anybody noticed, but I did go in when I opened up the EDC link on the website. It wasn't full of the accurate information, so I changed it now. So when you go onto the EDC link, it will show that the meetings are every third Wednesday, that it's also in the lower level room 3, and that they start at 6. So that's been cleaned up. I'm going to have my name down as a contact along with Greg's as well. And tomorrow morning at 8:30, I'm having a conversation with Cliff Clark. Cliff Clark is our representative here in Southwick from the town of Westfield for the Westfield News. So he's a reporter. I met him earlier this year when I was doing some other activity in town. He's pretty good at capturing right information and listening. So he reached out to me yesterday and we talked this afternoon because of the exchange yesterday or Monday at the select board meeting. He feels that there's going to be some vitality happening with the EDC, and he wants to talk to me about what our vision is and where we're planning on taking this commission. And my thought is if we can start getting some press out there, and I'm going to be really focusing on community engagement with our businesses and also our website design and starting to brand ourselves. So that's going to be the focus that I'm going to want to take our 20-minute conversation with tomorrow is, once again, our community involvement, website, and business engagement. I am going to put down, make sure that he has in that ad my name and my email address so that any businesses in Southwick that sees that will already have a link to connect, with us. So, any questions or concerns about that?
More publicity, the better.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
We'll especially want press when we start getting a new website up and that type of thing.
Right, right. So, so that's a good first start here. So, we don't have any public comments, but, let's just dive right into the agenda then. Presentation for the mission purpose breakout team, which was Mark, Craig, and Jack. I know Mark said that he had a conflict coming in for today, so was there any communication between you folks about the information that I sent to you?
There was not, as I mentioned to you last night, I've got a little bit of check as far as what we should be, how we should be thinking about this. And if I may explain right now. So I thought I had written down Pam was on that, but she is not, huh?
Pam's on the marketing piece because of her website design experience.
Right, but I thought that I thought this was a separate,
I think originally she
Pam-
was from
Pam
watching.
asked to be all,
Yeah,
spending time on the website.
oh,
Inga asked me to be part of the
Okay.
group,
okay,
and I just returned from vacation.
okay, all right. Okay, well, now I'm up to speed on that.
Okay,
So I think with respect to the mission and purpose, we may have talked about this in our prior lives, but it would be nice to know, what the select board expects of us. Because I think whatever we adopt needs to tie in with that. So for instance, when we ask for approval for money, it would be nice if that was in line with what the expectation is for this EDC. And that ought to be somewhere. There ought to be some way that they can communicate that to us so that we know what's expected of us.
And I understand what you're saying there, but I'll throw out a little different angle on that. Why don't we be proactive and tell them what we think we should be doing and get their approval, rather than wait for them to tell us what they think we should be doing?
Well,
It will be open for modification, of course, but it's just a way to get the ball rolling and to be able to present our vision and what we are passionate about.
I mean, I don't have any problem with that. It would just be nice to know that when this was set up, what the expectation was. I mean, I like to go back to that because if that needs to be redone, then
it's wasted time anyway, yeah.
Well-
it should start with the select board.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I agree.
and the select board's already had a voice. They've already chosen who to appoint. And based on our backgrounds, that's, in my opinion, that sets the foundation. So, and the fact that they've allowed it to be a little robust is also a good sign that they understand that we're gonna be a proactive commission. So, and that's where at the meeting on Monday, at the select board meeting, when there was some informal discussions happening, and I shared that we've already had 2 meetings, the 3rd meeting is already scheduled for this week. Doug actually seemed pleased with that.
He was surprised, actually.
He was pleasantly surprised. And, I've already been infiltrating and working in with the select board department and working with Lisa in getting me materials, the accounting department as well, Jim Middleton on IT. So we are at a great point in our journey to start setting expectations to the other boards too. At the Master Plan Advisory Committee meeting on October 5th, Pam showed up with me as well. And I stood up and I made a public comment that the EDC is being redefined, re-energized, refocused. And whatever we can do to help support what the community chooses to do with the master plan, we're ready to do that. And we want to be proactive and have a voice. We have a very healthy chapter in the master plan advisory committee's plan for the town itself. So that chapter, if you haven't had a chance to look at it, has already been put through the channels through the master advisory committee that has that's made up of all the boards and commissions here in town, including the select board, and that's already been discussed. So I hear what you're saying, Craig, because it's been a little gray,
Mhm.
but right now there are so many other positive things that are happening that the EDC is being mentioned in. So we now have the ability, which is what we're doing here as a force of 9, to actually start doing something with it.
By the way, Mark has joined us.
Yeah, I saw it. So could you maybe unmute Mark? Is there a way to unmute
Can
this,
I do
Tim?
that?
I believe you
Do
can.
I click that? or-
Can you hear me?
No,
Yeah, we can. Perfect.
he can do it.
So that's where, in my opinion, I feel it's worth our time to put together what our purpose is right now. That's why I mentioned at the first meeting, let's focus on just our purpose for the first few months. And then build upon it when we start seeing that we're gaining some momentum.
Maybe what I'm looking for is, it would be nice to know why the commission exists in the eyes of those that have authority over us.
Yeah.
Right, what do they expect out of us? What, you know?
Well, as regards to state agencies and things like that, and our interaction with these types of people, what's, what's permissible.
What can we do?
Right.
Can we not do?
So, I mean, we can go back and we can tell them what we'd like to do and all, but at some point, this was chartered. I mean, it's in the bylaws somewhere as far as having an EDC and what the expectations are. And it would just be nice to see that alongside with getting this mission statement put together.
Yeah.
Right.
So
The
what,
one thing though, if we wait to hear back from select board, who knows?
They
what
meet
expected from-
every Monday though, so I think, if you got in touch with like one Diane, or just one of them, I think that they could,
It's easier to march right in there because it's hard to get a hold of anyone and answer you.
but at the same point too, we can't march in and ask them because they're not all gonna be together as a group.
Correct.
So the best way for me to circumvent that is to send a group email to them, wanting to ask, what do they expect?
Why do they think we exist?
Right. Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
so.
I don't think we ever knew that.
No, and we
No.
always went around like what different towns, like, obviously bigger cities and stuff, they go to economic development, any business that comes in
Right.
and stuff. But then when you get to, other ones, they're minimal, and then they have Chamber of Commerce that actually are the ones that are, kind of supporting
Right.
the
Mhm.
businesses in town. So it's, for the purpose of Southwick specifically, what is our EDC?
Yep, so
Yeah.
what I'll do is I'll send that email tomorrow morning. And I will CC you all in on it. And ask them, what do they expect from us?
Perfect.
I'm just gonna keep it real simple
Yep.
to the point, and see what their responses are. And obviously, when they respond back, since you're all CC'd in on it, you're going to see it as well.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on that, Mark? Do you agree?
Yes, I came in for, when I got let into the meeting, picked up on, a portion of the discussion. But what was the initial, I'm sorry, what was the initial, sort of impetus for the discussion?
Yep, real to the point, Craig was wanting to find out what the select board feels our mission really is and our purpose.
Okay, thank you.
And once we know that, then that can help us craft what would be our purpose.
Okay,
And
so I have a suggestion. Maybe what we do is we run past them a draft mission statement
Mhm.
and get them to opine on it. That might be more concrete, you know what I mean? It gives them something to specifically reflect on, and then they can get more specific about the things they'd like to see us do. But at least it gives a starting point of this is what we see our mission as, and our purpose as. And it's pretty broad. I mean, as we've kind of constructed in each of the various versions of the mission statement, it's fairly broad. And then, asking for them to give us, feedback, and any additional direction that they feel is appropriate. I think that might be a very constructive way to put it forth.
well, it takes out a step.
I'm sorry?
And it takes out, it removes a step
Yes.
in waiting for response. So I know that I had sent to Mark, Pam, Jack, and I ended up dropping it off at you, Craig, because it kept bouncing back. A condensed version of all of the mission statements and the purposes that we had all shared. And my thought would be for that, what do you think about this, select board? Would be to go with just an initial short-term purpose. So what would we feel about this? Our short-term purpose is to become aware of our capabilities as a commission, expand our presence with other commissions and boards, and engage with our business community. Website creation and functionality is monumental by year end.
So I think that's what we're going to do. I mean, some of those elements are actions that we're going to take as a commission, but I think there's a fundamental, sort of the fundamental reason for us existing needs to be established.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw what I sent, it came this afternoon to you, Inga, but I did take a stab at incorporating, sort of merging some of the language. I thought there was some very good language that was brought up about, having measurable goals and working with other town officials and town boards and commissions. And then, really supporting what somebody phrased as long-term economic health. So I incorporated those things into a statement which I can read. It's broad, it's purposefully broad and a little general. And I think we drill down from there and we talk about some of the actions we want to take as a commission. But the things that we're talking about doing, like creating a website and starting some activities and even doing a business survey, all fall within that scope. I don't think we should be too narrow in what we put forth. I think it should be sort of a broad and general, starting with this is our reason for, existing. Does everybody agree with that? And then we can keep them informed about the actions and activities we're going to take.
And I just went into my emails, Mark, and after 2 o'clock, I didn't look at any of my emails because I was at my office. So I've got your mission, what you actually sent right in front of me.
Okay.
So why don't you read it and
Okay.
what's good?
Sure. The mission of the Economic Development Commission is to be a catalyst for measurable business and economic growth for the town of Southwick. We work in collaboration with town officials and other town boards and commissions to attract, assist, and retain businesses in Southwick to support the town's long-term economic health.
I like it.
I like
I like
it. I think it's
I like
fine.
it too.
Yeah, it's
Not too long.
No, it's,
broad enough,
Keep
but
it
also
simple.
specific enough that you can, whenever we have a proposal, we can say, okay, how does that further that
Yes.
mission?
Pass that down
Right.
to Craig, so I can look at that.
Do we want to add a few more words saying long-term economic health in line with the master plan?
I'm gonna go back to, I disagree with adding the master plan in there. It has
Okay.
not been fully passed yet. The master plan is gonna be what we're gonna go off of eventually. So I don't think our mission statement for EDC needs to have master plan incorporated in it. Cause we are gonna be basing it off, once it's passed, we are gonna be basing our stuff. This is actually just for us as our commission.
Right.
So Jack, that's the only thing, that's, the only reason why I'm saying for the
Okay,
master.
that's fine. I just wanted to bring it up because a lot of people mention that in their proposed mission statements. So we should have a discussion to decide whether
Yeah.
we're including it or not.
And that's where, we have the ability and the flexibility to adapt and change.
Right.
So, but for right now, for me to reach out to the select board or the select board tomorrow to be able to propose, this is, what do you expect us to do? But this is what we are proposing our purpose to be.
Mhm.
So,
Craig, do you have any comments on it?
Yeah, I like that.
I'm just a little bit concerned because, I mean, we can talk about economic growth, being balanced with residential, agricultural, commercial, and so forth. We're going to talk about attracting new businesses, but only those which would complement the character of our community, and then diversified economic and employment opportunities that would enhance the quality of life for those living, working, and visiting Southwick. So it seems to be a little one-sided here, and this is what got us in trouble a while back, because we don't really have anything that is that talks about the bounds of balance, which would complement the character and nature of our town. So I think that is of utmost importance, instead of just saying we're here for economic growth.
Well, we didn't say growth, we said health. And I think health
said what?
implies health, not growth. And I
Yeah,
think
but
health implies,
we're economic development. We should be part of growth, is, you know what I mean?
well, I disagree. I think that health is more important than growth. Growth
You gotta
It
be healthy
can be
in order to
unhealthy
grow, I'll tell you
growth.
that much.
can be
So-
cancerous growth.
Yeah,
So
but-
you know what? Maybe we add a couple of words to the very end that would satisfy the issue that's being discussed, and that is, how do we execute on those responsibilities? If we were to add in keeping with town goals, then it's, we're not establishing the master plan. If it in fact gets adopted, it's going to be adopted and then sort of handed down to us, and that will be our guidepost. The way we can achieve word conservation regarding, a balance of agricultural and other businesses, which I do think is important. I think that's the flavor of Southwick, but we could just say, in keeping with town goals, if we want to be a little bit more illustrative about that point as we talk about, the actions we'll take, or, perhaps our I don't know if we're going to have, formal bylaws or rules of the road, if you will, in terms of how we're going to conduct our business. That could be, incorporated into those kind of rules of our conduct, I think, and what we will do. I think erring on the side of really being open, because I think it's our job to sort of accept all comers. If somebody comes to us with an idea or a suggestion, or they're interested in pursuing, a business opportunity in town, we don't unilaterally say yes or no. I think it's our obligation to take that intake and, be realistic and say, well, it may or may not meet with town approval, but then we put that forward to the appropriate authorities, the employees, the employed staff, as well as, I think, the planning commission. So then we don't alienate them either and have them think like we're making the decisions about what is appropriate and what is not appropriate in terms of, businesses in town. I think that's the delicate balance. I know we talked about this at the last meeting. So maybe by putting, in keeping with town goals, and it's not just us, but it's all town goals, the boards, the commissions, and, obviously the staff as they interpret the rules that are established by, the select board and others.
Can I make a suggestion, just like for, because we're all around, but since Mark, since you, Craig, and Jack are on this kind of subcommittee for this, my suggestion would be for you guys to kind of bounce off each other. Some of this stuff, you've kind of heard all of our opinions at this point, and while Inga is still reaching out to the select board, if she gets an answer from the point of you got before you guys have, something drafted together, or if you guys get an answer first, she can actually, send that off to them as well as an approval and see if they need to tweak it. But that way it's kind of both in the mix, it's both being worked on at the same time.
Or we simply take what Mark has already created here and add in to the town goals and also the rural character of the town. So we can add that piece into it because we're all here in this town because of the rural character. And that's obviously a goal of all of us. But we also have to look at the economic health of the town as well. So.
Cause health, definitely health comes before growth. If you don't have health, forget about the growth. That's my
So
opinion.
I like that, the economic health in keeping with
the rural
rural character and town goals.
Right, and town goals.
So
So can
I think
you
that's-
recreate that, Mark? Just add
Yeah.
those components to it? Cause that would take on your piece, Craig, in regards to the rural character. And obviously, as it is right now, any business that comes into town, we don't even talk to them.
No, we don't talk, they don't approach us
It goes
first.
right to the planning board, but that's something where I've already spoke with John Goddard in regards to when that happens, I want to be notified.
Or direct them, direct them
Right,
this
so
way.
then
Right.
we can also participate in those meetings
Correct.
So we
and
don't,
look at analysis and due diligence and what kind of footprint and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, but we're not there yet.
Yeah,
Well,
we
we
could
are,
help.
if that happened
Yeah,
tomorrow.
it should
we
come to
would
us
be-
first, I
right.
believe, and then go where they
In
go
some
next.
communities it does, Frank, but it's not how it's been here.
Yeah.
So Mark, if you can just add those pieces to it,
Sure. I'll do that right
And-
now and send it right back out to you.
okay? And then that way there, when I do reach out to the SB tomorrow morning, I can have this attached to it. And once again, it's just a work in progress.
Right, there's something inside of me though that still would, I like to know what people expect of me. And since this has been fledgling here for how many years, I would like to hear it from them.
Yeah.
Why we exist, notwithstanding our mission statement. I just think it's important to hear from the other side. Let them verbalize it.
So why don't I also invite them to our next meeting?
I'm surprised someone in there from there right now.
There's other commitments in town tonight.
But I mean, does it hurt to ask them?
No, not at all.
I
Frank.
don't think, why do we?
Without giving them the statement, is what
Well,
you're
with-
saying, Craig?
Well, I don't even care if we give them the statement. I would like to hear from them, why they think we exist.
Okay, so
I think it's important
when
information.
I
don't
send
know.
that email out, why don't I also send a formal invite for our next meeting so that we can have a discussion about expectations? How's that? So we get it in writing from them
Mhm.
and then also invite them to our meeting in
I think
November.
that's fine.
Okay,
That's,
Are you gonna
that's
tell them
good
what we're
stuff.
looking for?
yeah, I don't like surprise.
But it is, I understand what he's saying
I do
about,
too.
tell me what you think I should be doing. Tell me your expectations of us.
Yep.
See what they say, and then we go from there, right? That's,
Mhm.
I agree. It's,
Because they may think that we should be dealing with businesses on the front, or they may think we shouldn't be, I don't know.
But
We've never
definitely,
communicated.
yeah, definitely, we should be dealing with the businesses. They should be coming in here
Yeah,
first.
and there is-
Whoever.
A great example of the hearing before the select board, a local business that, you know, thought they were doing everything right and were getting different messages from different parts of the town, and then came
Oh.
before a hearing and said, you know, why do I feel like I'm the bad guy here? I've been trying to do everything right.
Well, when I get a chance, I got a whole spiel going on here because I am going through some stuff in this town right now with my businesses. And some of these committees are forget about it.
Well, we have to focus on
Yeah.
what our
I get,
purpose is here. We all have personal opinions and,
yeah, but
But
this has
let's
to do
start.
with business, which we're trying to do.
right, and I can appreciate that, Frank. And right now, I think for us to be able to ask the select board to come talk with us in a forum is gonna be healthy, because we've got 3 senior folks here that's been on the EDC that floundered. And there was never really any connection with any other boards or
Any kind of support
commissions.
whatsoever from anyone.
So that's where I wanna focus on creating a harmony and integrating ourselves and cross-pollinating into other commissions, planning board being a big one.
Yeah,
Can I just, I actually have a question in regards to, just saying that we all have differences of opinion. So I think we all, you know, think differently. We all might think differently about a certain project, a certain thing, and that's fine. But I think as EDC, like, that's where we, you know, when we're here, you know, or if we're representing ourselves somewhere
In
at a town, in a
Mhm.
public town meeting. So my question is, when we're making a remark at a public town meeting or, you know, in front of the select board or in front of somebody, typically I have always just said my name and my address as a resident, because as an EDC member, we haven't collectively agreed on the comment that I might make at that meeting, even though we all might feel the same way. So am I correct in stating, unless we've all come together and like one of us is a liaison or a representative for that, for the EDC, our opinion would be as a personal name and address as a resident versus as the EDC, is that correct?
It can be viewed as correct.
Okay,
When we met the last meeting, it was suggested that one of us go to.
no, I watched the,
Right,
yeah, I
right.
watched the whole meeting.
So at that point, I felt very comfortable standing up and stating that whatever happens with the master plan, we will be supportive of it.
Sure, yeah, I'm just saying, like, in general, like, let's say, I don't know, there's a business, there's just anything going on, you know, your neighbor, you're not gonna wanna say, like, I'm part of the EDC, you know what I mean? You know, you just say, I'm Amber Bach at 10 Pine Knoll. I don't say, you know, I'm part of the EDC commission, and I don't think that this should be, or this should be, you know, so I just wanna be clear on that we're representing, unless we're the liaison for the EDC at a particular meeting.
So should we make a vote then as to how to conduct ourselves in other board meetings? Is that what,
I guess
You're
so,
ultimately
yeah,
wanting to
I
do?
guess so. I
What
think
if you're
I,
going into a meeting with someone that's coming in for new business and you're supporting that person?
so you personally are supporting it, or us as the
No,
EDC?
no, he's-
So
yeah,
then we would have all said we're in support of this business, and
Right.
Frank, if you're going, you know, if you're going to that meeting, then you're gonna be voicing as the EDC liaison, saying
Gotcha.
that you're that,
right,
versus,
Gotcha.
I'm,
All right.
yeah,
I didn't understand. Okay.
right.
yeah.
So it probably doesn't hurt. I mean, I don't see any harm in saying, you know, I'm passionate about the town. I even sit on the EDC. However, I am approaching you.
Or my
As a
comment is
private
as a private
citizen.
citizen,
Right. As a
yeah,
private
yeah,
citizen.
I think that's the only thing I'm saying, like, has to be clear, cause
Mhm.
I
Nobody
seen
should be
some,
speaking for the board unless we,
correct,
commission,
All
unless we
correct.
authorize them.
That's all, that's what I'm,
Okay,
yeah,
so
that's what I'm,
what I'd like to propose then is a motion. for us all collectively to agree that when we are attending any public meetings, that when we have a personal comment, we will only address it as our name and our address. So that's the motion I would like to present.
I don't even know.
And I would like to know, who else would like to make a motion to accept that?
Okay, I'm gonna motion to accept that.
Okay,
Maybe we could present an alternative motion. This is what, I asked you before the select board meeting if I should mention that I was on the economic development or just name and
Mhm.
address. And you suggested, no, mention it. And I heard here too, that if it might be okay to mention it as long as we say, but I am speaking.
as a private
as a
citizen.
private
Correct.
citizen.
Yeah,
Okay,
maybe the motion should be, nobody presents themselves as speaking for the board unless they're authorized.
all
Right.
the rest to do as a group.
You have to
Correct.
speak for no
Right.
one else anyways, so that's where I'm
Right.
confused.
So-
Just making that clear.
So the motion on the table then is when any of us present a comment at any of the public recorded meetings, that we present ourselves as an individual citizen, our name and address. But if we as a group have collectively agreed that we want to make a comment as a member of the EDC, that would be acceptable.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to wade through this because you sit in on some of these meetings and you know the tone of things and so forth, and you're not necessarily there as just Inga telling, right? I mean, so,
But that's why also, Craig, sometimes I just stay silent. I'm just gathering information
no, I know.
and then understanding how I want to use that information at another date or
I
time.
think what Amber's saying though is discretion really needs to be the better part of all of this, right? So
Absolutely.
I don't know if we even need a motion on that. I think we all know what needs to be.
Well, I think it'd be
Understood.
good to set a guideline and an acceptance, because like Amber said, we all have different opinions and we've all had different activism in town.
And
So, and that's healthy. And we are all entitled to do that because we live in this great country where we have rights. But I do understand what Amber is saying, that sometimes we might get a little emotional and it might be a little perceived maybe as confrontational. But we have to realize as now a board that wants to start cross-pollinating into other commissions and actually doing some positive things in town, we have to conduct ourselves with a code of conduct that's professional. And I would have to agree with what Amber is proposing. Now, I would have loved to have been able to stand up alongside Greg with some stats and the analysis of what you said, but I didn't have those stats, so I didn't stand with you the other day, but I agreed with what you did. And when you said, as the vice chair of the EDC, there wasn't really any conflict there, but I do believe we need to set a precedence. So it's done consistently. So,
Yeah,
absolutely.
basically what you're
A code of
adopting is a code of
conduct.
conduct.
So
Code of
the
conduct.
question is,
That's all,
That's
that's all
I think-
you're adopting.
code of conduct.
I think everybody agrees that we shouldn't speak for the board. And the question is whether we should just not mention that we're on the board or say we're on the board, but we're speaking as a private citizen. Which of those two?
Well, we have two scenarios. We have one where if we collectively as a group do agree to make a formal presentation in front of a board,
Well, that would be a third
Then you-
that would
option.
be a third
Yeah,
option.
yeah.
Say,
I
we have
agree.
discussed and I'm speaking on behalf of the, so
Right.
there's.
I
three
think,
different
I think we can all use our own discretion as whether or not it's pertinent to, something with the EDC, something with a business, we can say, we're on EDC, but, I'm
Right.
speaking as a private citizen, Amber Goffstown Pinel, or I
I
am.
kind of like the idea of having it formalized only because if somebody That was
slips.
accidentally. I don't think anybody would do anything deliberately. But it puts us in a position of having said something that we as a board did not put out there without a guideline. How do we come back and say they were unauthorized to do that?
Correct. And that's where, you know, I think that,
But when you're sitting in, just informally in a planning board session or something like that, you know, as chair of EDC, I mean, there's some
Yeah.
discussions that can go back and forth and you're there representing EDC, right? So.
Right, but I'm not going to state an opinion or an action unless we've all agreed on something. I'll gather information,
Mhm.
but I'm not going to commit to something.
or divulge information in
Right.
regards to EDC. I think that's, you know what I mean? I think
Right.
that's,
Because even at the select board meeting last week or this past week, when I asked for us to have a Facebook page for information only, no reply back, I did it as a private citizen. I did not state that I was a chair of the EDC. So, but when I go to the other meetings, I'm gonna go there as a private citizen unless we've discussed something as a group. And then I want to make a presentation to them or have Jack make a presentation or Frank or whoever is going to be going to those
The only
meetings.
thing is with that, if you're going to a meeting and dealing with somebody, now, we're all gonna tell you what you have to say, or
well, we're all gonna have the opinion of like what we talked about, like if
That's
it's
opinion,
statistics or something like that, or if it's,
correct?
yeah, or we've all kind of,
Well, everybody's opinion is not always gonna be the same.
right.
Right. So,
And we don't,
But we're not,
I'm not getting it.
because we're a commission, so while our opinions might not be the same, we're gonna get to an end result that we're all gonna agree upon or disagree upon. If it's gonna be a disagree, you know, we don't support something collectively, then that's, you know, gonna be stated or not stated at all. I mean, then we don't have to even say anything. Or if it's
But
agreed
it's-
upon
you're
as a
almost saying
majority,
on how you have to act there with you.
you
I'm
do,
just confused.
Well, I'm taking this to be purely during public meetings.
Public
We're
Correct.
not looking to
correct,
restrict every conversation we may
Correct.
have.
Just
correct.
for
I run
public,
into a
just for public
selectman or
meetings.
select woman and have a
Right.
conversation personally. That's different than being in a public meeting.
Right. Frank, I can feel your frustration. I can see it. When you're out in the public, you're going to be who you are. When you're here, you will as well. But we just have to have a code of conduct of professionalism and trying to temper our emotions.
I understand that,
Yeah.
100%. I just want,
Frank,
I shouldn't say
can I
100%.
just do an example? So let
Yeah,
me
go
just do an example. So let's say it was the last big town meeting that we just had, right? In the auditorium at the high school. There was something that wanted to get passed. Now that easily could have been an Economic Development Commission subject. However, I stood up and gave a comment just as a private citizen, as a resident.
Mhm.
It had been slightly discussed in our commission. Some were for, some were against, you could kind of tell. We didn't really discuss it and say like we were all for it. We thought it'd be great. So for me to stand up and say I'm part of the EDC, I think that having this business in town to generate some income would be good. I couldn't do that because I didn't think that all my fellow commissioners on the EDC were in conjunction with what my opinion was. So
Right.
my opinion was just as
If
a
you think
person.
it's good, that means we all gotta agree to. it's good?
No,
If you're representing
I'm
yourself.
not
as-
I didn't represent myself as part of the EDC. I represented myself as a private citizen. And you can represent yourself in any town meeting as a private citizen. But I think what I'm saying, what we're saying is if you're representing yourself as a private citizen, you can't also incorporate that I'm on the
Well,
EDC.
There's a.
It's
some
just a-
like professionalism.
Correct,
So, and I
correct,
understand, that,
Right,
you know, I get that.
correct.
right.
So that's all, just like if you're standing up going, well, I think this should be done because I'm on the EDC, you know, or I'm on the EDC, so I think blah, blah, blah. So
Yeah.
that's not how it's gonna go, like you're,
I'm just, my intake on it is wrong. I'm using professionalism, so.
Yep.
That's the way.
So then let's say like we've all discussed a certain aspect of a business and we need to go in front of, we want to help support a business in front of the planning board and we want to help give our opinion that we've looked into this. We think that this and this is
Correct.
collectively as the EDC, we're gonna just let you know that we're in favor of this happening or something like
Right,
that.
right.
We might do
We did our
that.
homework, we did.
But
our
that would be
time.
as EDC, that wouldn't be, and I
gotcha.
might not like that business, but I'm gonna say, we collectively have discussed it
Yeah.
and the vote was that we were in favor of this,
Gotcha.
you know?
But that's where we're going to have to focus on when we are added into the mix with the planning board and we're going to their meetings and we are getting the emails from John Goddard in regards to who's knocking on our door. That's where we'll start doing our diligence and then be able to make presentations, but we're not there yet.
No.
Mhm.
No.
All I'm wanting to propose tonight then is regarding a code of conduct when we are in a public, when we're in the town hall or we're at the school and it is a meeting, that when we do have our opinions and we want to voice them in those forums, we're going to do it as a private citizen.
Correct.
You know, I'm just thinking in terms of, let's say we have a round table where we have a planning board in there and the select board and we're in there as well, and we're all discussing things. That is a case where,
Open dialogue.
yeah, okay.
Right.
all right. So I don't wanna,
No,
I'm trying to figure out how we can not hamstring us.
oh, believe me, I'm not one to
With this-
hamstring.
No, I'm
Craig.
saying with this motion right here, I'm just
Right.
really trying to be careful because,
So why don't we not even present it as a motion,
No.
but let's just have an open discussion,
That's what we're doing.
Mark, you're listening to us too.
Yeah.
We're going to just have a code of conduct
yeah. I think
that
so.
when we are in public, outside of the town hall, we don't represent ourselves as a member of the EDC. But you have to realize that people that know us, we're a reflection. So we have to maintain professionalism pretty much at all given
Or
times.
ethics and everything.
Ethics,
Right.
yeah,
Mhm.
which is just standard protocol. When we're at a town meeting and we choose to want to speak on the topic, we have to keep it independent. State your name, your address, and your opinion.
Mhm.
When we collectively, as a commission, agree that we want to support or endorse whatever the scenario might be, we have a quorum, we
Yeah.
agree, we vote on it, we're all in harmony. We might have a couple of disagreements, but we're still gonna do it
Yeah, that's
collectively
part
as a
of,
group.
that's part of having a board.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So, sound
And I
fair?
might- And I might add to that, it could be it could be a very tense situation, the vote might be 5-4, but we all need to be in unity behind that, we need to agree to
Absolutely.
that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's,
Absolutely. Cause like, we all know, we all think differently around this table. And we have different objectives.
Yeah.
But as a group, we have to have a focus, and ours is looking at a healthy economic growth for this community,
Well, that's the same.
maintaining its character and getting some of these businesses that are empty filled.
Okay.
And if we can help stimulate that by our own
Yeah.
efforts, then the select board should be happy. And we feel like we're doing something.
Yeah, and that's, yeah.
So,
They-
Recommend we move on.
okay, so
Yes.
let's move on. So Mark, he sent me a copy of the revision. And give it a whirl there, Mark. I'll let you deliver it.
You gotta unmute, Mark. Oh. I'll let you,
Okay,
there you go.
I'm sorry,
Okay,
Cindy.
Mark. All right,
No, you're gonna have you, just reread your
Yeah,
revision,
Okay.
please.
The mission of the EDC is to be a catalyst for measurable business and economic growth for the town of Southwick. We work in collaboration with town officials and other town boards and commissions to attract, assist, and retain businesses in Southwick to support the town's long-term economic health in keeping with town goals, in keeping with the town's rural character and goals.
What's that middle part right there as far as the
Yeah,
town?
give that down to Greg. Can you pass that to?
Yeah, he's gonna read it again. Hold on.
Town officials, other town boards and commissions. Here again. State agencies, I don't know, I mean, that's why,
Right,
but
Well,
Mhm.
the town works with the state, so if we're
Yeah, well-
protected under that, aren't we?
we can tweak it
Yeah.
too, if
still-
we wanna hit, I mean, we're not hitting state agencies quite yet anyway, so, you know, I think.
Yeah, because that would be, it's ultimately my long-term goals, Craig, is to also do some grant writing. That's why I've been taking classes on it.
right,
So,
We
I don't know.
could change town officials to public officials.
yeah,
We
Yeah,
work in
let's do-
collaboration with public officials and other town boards and
Yeah,
commissions.
that sounds
Okay.
better,
brilliant, Mark,
okay,
brilliant.
all right.
Excellent.
Good verbal
So-
economy.
Yeah, so send me that final revision there, Mark, and
Okay.
that's what I'm sending to the select board tomorrow and
Perfect.
CCing us all in on it.
Okay,
Okay,
now we probably do need a motion for this, right, I mean, if we're gonna be submitting this.
will that be for,
So I would move that
So-
we accept
I,
as written,
right, so what I'd like to do is once Mark sends me the final revision, I will read it and I'll make a motion then.
okay,
So we'll do that as soon as Mark gets
Yeah.
that back over.
okay,
Okay, it should be hitting your inbox any minute.
This is unusual for me, folks. I do not hold on to my cell phone all the time. And I'm now realizing that's gonna have to be part of the process. Okay, it's not here yet. So. Okay. Going to. And this, you can each take one and pass it on. Our next item on the agenda,
Pass
we'll
one
go
down.
back to Mark when I get that sent to me, is our shop local, savor local next steps. So Pam and I have gone back and forth on a couple of occasions in regards to how to actually look at this. And I'd like to make a motion that the tagline for the event scheduled for November 25th is going to be shop local, savor local. So do I hear a motion to accept the name of the event?
You like savor better than taste.
Yeah, we had the taste before then.
Well,
yeah, but I think in the last, when I was watching the last meeting, the taste, and I'm gonna agree with what was being said, was that like when you hear Tastes of Southwick or something, you think of
Restaurants.
you think of restaurants or like a food fair or something like that. And I just know, you know, these events, it's kind of, I wanna say like nationwide, it's considered Small Business Saturday. You
How
know,
about
that's,
eat local?
I was thinking,
Savor, just doesn't immediately call up restaurant.
how about shop local, dine local?
Dine local.
I like that.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I'd like to make a motion to accept the name of our promotion for Saturday, November 25th. Shop local, dine local.
perfect.
Do I hear a motion?
Second. By motion.
Okay,
I second.
okay, great. So what I've attached to you all, oh, okay, we're gonna sidebar for just a second. So here is the final rendition from Mark. And Mark, since you've been eloquently delivering it, I'd like you just to read it, and I'm gonna pass that down to Craig.
The mission of the EDC is to be a catalyst for measurable business and economic growth for the town of Southwick. We work in collaboration with public officials and other town boards and commissions to attract, assist, and retain businesses in Southwick to support the town's long-term economic health in keeping with the town's rural character and goals.
Do I hear a motion to accept Mark's
I move to
purpose?
accept Mark's mission.
I'll second it.
So,
Okay, so
Okay,
do we do a full vote now?
so, Inga, yes.
Serena, yes.
Greg, yes.
Craig, yes.
Jack, yes.
Frank, yes.
Amber, yes.
Okay, so it's been.
Mark, how do you vote?
I don't know. I guess I'll vote yes.
Think on it.
We have to make another revision.
No. All right,
Okay,
Okay.
so we have accepted the purpose that Mark has presented us, and this is what I'll be sending to the select board tomorrow.
perfect.
Okay, so back to the shop local, dine local. What I've given everyone was the businesses last year that participated. And once again, for clarification, these businesses had bags and tickets at their location on Saturday only. Participants that came in put only their first name and their phone number in it. That went into a drawing for the restaurants. So these are the businesses that participated last year. Obviously, we need businesses that are open on Saturdays that also have traffic. Now, once again, remember, I had 9 days to pull this off last year and also working 50 hours a week. So there's a lot of other businesses on here that were not able to be talked with. My thought is the hair salons in town and also any of the health clubs. Because what amazed me, the Daily Dose Yoga, which is in Gristmill Plaza, it's in the corner, snugged in there. They had 2 winners and they had quite a few participants. So we've got now here in town a couple of other gyms and healthy places. So
And consignment, a lot of consignment
yeah,
stores.
yeah, Designer
yeah, yeah.
Consignor participated, so we have a couple of other consignment shops. So what I would like to do is the business development group. We've got Frank, Jack, and Craig on that, but then we also have the execution group, which is Inga, Sabrina, and Mark. I'd like to have us all look at adding at least 5 more businesses on this list and think of who we want to add in. So if you all, I'll send you this list when I get home tomorrow. And then we can just add businesses to it. And then what I'd like to do is once we have what we think is a pretty good combination of our thoughts of other businesses, then break it down so that we all can take X amount of businesses to call, introduce ourselves as a member of the EDC. By then I'll have a promo piece that we would be able to share with them as well, that we can either send electronically or in person walk in with and see if they'd like to participate. Now, the restaurants, there were 11 that participated. And there were some that just simply weren't able to be connected with. So Pam has got our list of restaurants and I'm going to add those onto here. And once again, we'll take a segment of them and put calls out once we have that promo piece to promote it as well. So we've got that documentation. And that promo piece is what I used last year also when the restaurants, when they gave me the donation of the $25 gift certificate, they wanted it for tax purposes. So they had that documentation. So it serves as,
A write-off.
yeah, a dual write-off.
So just in regards to that, and I know, I brought this up and I know that Diane was looking into it. just, I don't know if she found, did she find the
We
information?
actually, we actually, that was proposed at the town, the select board meeting on Monday.
Okay,
So, they're in process of creating a gift account for the Economic Development Commission.
okay,
The only thing we have to do for that is if somebody gives us a donation, we have to be accountable for it.
okay,
So, but that has to go in front of a town annual meeting.
interesting,
It's something that can't be just approved by the select board.
okay,
So, and Carl Steinhardt has concurred that
Okay.
as well. So and we have a special town meeting on December 5th. And it will be presented then to the town meeting. In the interim, I've been advised just to document it. So I'm just
Okay.
gonna create a
Okay.
spreadsheet, keep it
Okay.
simple. And just put down who gave us
Okay.
and what they gave us.
okay, perfect.
So, and then we will officially have that gift account in place going
Perfect.
into first Q of 24.
That's gonna be the gift account, and then we'll do, if there's a donation otherwise monetarily, that's a separate account as well.
That goes right into the
It
gift
does
account.
as well, okay,
Yeah, it's
okay.
just one
okay,
account.
okay, perfect.
Yeah, one account.
So, how, and we talked about this, but how do we make sure that there aren't restaurants that would like to be involved that are going to feel like they got left out? I mean,
We're gonna call all of them.
okay,
So she sent us, I mean, again, unfortunately, it doesn't, they don't all have the business. I did print it out when you sent the businesses that we have. So as far as Southwick, like whatever restaurants, just call all of them, make
Right.
sure. And there can't be any restaurants that we don't know of. It's not like the PO box type
Mhm.
situation or an LLC type situation. I think we're pretty privy on the restaurant list,
Okay.
again, that Michael had too.
Yeah.
That's for restaurants if they want to do the gift certificate. Businesses, that's gonna be,
High
There-
traffic.
we're trying, yeah, high traffic, trying
Saturday
to,
opens.
yeah.
Like the hash house isn't on here.
Right,
Yeah.
well, they weren't,
They
they
were there.
wouldn't return our
Right.
calls.
Oh, they would.
So again, going
So
forward,
let's get-
maybe somebody can go in as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
and
I
just say,
think
hey,
I think for the restaurants, it would be best to go in, definitely not at noontime.
no,
But that's something that we can talk about in our next meeting or even with our email
Or-
exchange within our groups.
those are your small groups that
Right,
you're
those-
I
doing,
think
yeah.
that's
this
our
is
small
next
groups.
month,
They don't
right?
want to get hit with.
This is
Right.
gonna be next
Right.
month,
CDC members ask them.
but we were able to do something pretty quickly
Yeah,
last year.
Right.
We still have plenty of time.
Right, right.
Right, but with this here, it's not gonna be as overwhelming as you might think it is.
You're looking
So,
for 5 more businesses on.
Did
there.
you-
yeah, I wanna see what everybody else thinks about businesses. But the key thing that we gotta think about when you write that down on the list is gonna be who's open on Saturdays and who
Yes,
gets traffic.
Yeah.
Oh, it's,
And-
they're gonna be open on Saturdays?
Did you
We're
find,
only doing shop local, shop small on Saturday,
well,
November
it's
25th.
nationwide, it's considered,
Shop local, shop
well, it's
small.
considered, small business Saturday.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Saturday, November 5th?
Yeah, it's
25th.
the 25th, it's always the day, well,
It's the
not, the 2
Saturday-
days after Thanksgiving is
Saturday.
always small it's considered small business Saturday.
so when you talk about the promo, do you have a script or talking points or whatever
I'll actually
You're
put
gonna
one
have that.
Yeah.
together. I'll put one together,
that's gonna be very concise as far as explanation of what's going on?
right to the
Yeah.
point, right to the point. And plus, we're gonna have a promo piece too.
Right,
So you'll be able to, when
Bring it
you
in.
walk
yeah,
in
yeah.
to Millie's Deli, you
Because
can
they
go in as, I'm Craig from the Economic Development Commission, and we're doing our second shop local event, November 25th. We'd love you to participate. We'd like to have you donate a $25 gift certificate. We don't want to ask for anything more than $25. Keep it simple. And that's gonna be part of the script, but I will put that together, Craig.
right, yeah, I think the whole package as far as the other half of this equation is important for the restaurants to understand, right?
Absolutely. The whole purpose is to that day, we're gonna get a lot of business, especially at Cowards, Rosca's, because it's Christmas tree sales and Blossoming Acres.
Right.
And last year, I didn't hear back from Skippy at Ray's, and Lanita was too busy. But with the connection now to the AdCom, Lanita will take the calls.
Mhm.
So, those are, my opinion, are gonna be 3 hot spots, because Cowards, we got quite a few winners from Cowards because of the volume there. But what it did, and that's what the restaurants love, that's why, the rail trail gave me 4 $25 gift certificates, was, wow, what an opportunity to get new people in. And $25 is gonna buy one meal.
Maybe.
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 And you have to drink water. So it's just a way to get people to come into our town and support our local businesses. So, with that being said, I've already talked to Ken at Channel 15. Bert and I did a promo piece with him for Open Farm Day and it went really well. And I've already spoke to Ken. He's a real foodie and he was like, oh God, I definitely want to participate and promote y'all on that. So, I'm looking for a couple volunteers to come with me. We're probably gonna be doing a promo piece the first couple of weeks in November. She's not quite sure yet on the date, but it's an hour commitment. And it's at the Westfield Volk High School. I would recommend that you meet me in the front parking lot and follow me to where the studio is. Because I went around and around the building a couple of times. And finally I said, go outside and wave me down because I could not figure it out and I'm really good with directions. So I'd be looking for a couple of volunteers that would want to come with me to be able to be representative of the EDC and also to be able to promote our event.
Do you have
So,
a date yet, or do you?
Ken's not giving me any defined dates yet, other than it will be within the first 2 weeks of November. And it would be a morning. So, as soon as he gets me dates, I'll funnel it out. But it's gonna be an opportunity for us, number one, to promote the EDC. And number two, to get some free press. And granted, Channel 15, not a lot of people watch it, but it's an opportunity to have whatever image and impression we can make would be a good one. So, and he makes you feel really comfortable. So, and I'm not happy in front of the camera, but it was happy. It was good.
Can I make another suggestion as well? So once you have all the businesses and then the restaurants participating, maybe we can put together a quick copy and paste for Facebook and everybody can throw it out on all the different Southwick forums on their own,
And
just to kind of draw,
Right. And we're also
idea.
going to ask
on your
the
businesses,
businesses,
yeah.
we're gonna ask the businesses and the restaurants to
Yeah.
promote it as well. And between Pam and I, we're gonna come up with a promo piece
Yeah,
that can be very easily sent to everybody. The most important thing here is to make it as simple for the people that are willing to say, yes, you can have your bag at our business, we will promote it for you. And then for the restaurants to say, yes, here you go.
were you able to find the signs in
I
our closet, our old room?
went up into
I
that
think he said
room
he was gonna leave them there.
and there are some up there.
Perfect, okay,
So,
perfect.
so any questions regarding shop local, dine local? No? Okay, so I'll get this out to everyone, within 24 hours and you can just add to it. And then.
You're adding
Oh,
on your commissions, right? And your
And I have a
Just
question,
the
when do they have the
businesses.
drawings?
The drawing that we had was at the following
remember the
EDC
meeting, yeah, I remember that,
meeting. which had been canceled, but then I called
Yeah.
you and Russ Fox to
Right,
come.
right.
So we will do the drawing at the next EDC meeting and I will have, Cliff Clark there as well for press. And, we had a select board member do the drawing, but I think it would be fine for us to, either do it ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I agree.
So, but that's, to be determined. So any questions on this? Okay. So next on the agenda is going to be the engagement survey from Greg. Did everyone get a copy of that?
An email, I sent out an email.
Oh, I didn't get it.
I might have, but.
Okay,
Okay,
now, this is why in the future, I will
You
make
make
copies.
Yeah, that's what
idea.
I
it
will
is.
make copies, so
It's
Good
I
idea.
it's very short.
only made a
4
copy
questions.
for myself. You got it as well?
I can look at it.
Behind
Yeah.
you.
I can look at it with you.
Yeah, I need another one too. I mean, I started filling it out.
Yeah, I'll see,
No.
I'll see that.
No,
Oh, wait.
well,
All right,
I'll
Yeah.
distribute
yeah,
it.
let's.
I will
we can help you
distribute
guys.
it.
Yeah,
And
it's very simple, so I can just explain it.
I'll start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just, it's designed to take
You know,
you
I'll
less than
pull
a
it up on
minute
my email.
to fill it out.
Yeah, I know.
And it really has two purposes.
No,
okay, so you guys don't, okay,
Okay. So it really has just two purposes. One is to gauge where we are at the beginning of our efforts, because it's important to have measurements to how we're doing. I strongly believe in the principle, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And so the first 3 questions will give a sense of what the current attitude of businesses are toward our town government, toward the general environment of Southwick, and toward the Economic Development Commission in particular. And to do that, I always like to have 4 questions with no fence sitting. One is, for example, what's your feeling about the general business environment of Southwick compared to most other towns in the Pioneer Valley? Much better than most other towns, a little better than most other towns, a little worse than most other towns, or much worse. So it gives a range that are very clear. Check 1, what do you feel? And then the same kind of thing, how responsive is Southwick town government to issues affecting your business? Very quick to respond, fairly quick to respond, fairly slow to respond, or very slow to respond. So we'll get a gauge, and we can actually score these results so if we do it a year from now, we can see if we made improvements. And then finally, how helpful has the Southwick Economic Development Commission, EDC, been to your business? Very helpful, somewhat helpful, not helpful, or I don't know what the Southwick EDC does. Given an option that they're just, I don't know anything about it. So those are the 3 questions that are benchmarking questions. Then the last one is about setting priorities for what we do. What do businesses think would be most helpful to them? So I have 10 choices here, and I ask them to check just 2 or 3. And that's actually better than ranking them, because that's kind of arbitrary and difficult to do. You just scan down, you read them, and I highlighted the points. You can scan back over them. Yeah, this would help me, this would help me, and this would help me. And in the end, we'll get a total of how many people checked each one, and we'll have and I've done a lot of these kind of surveys, and usually the results are very clear. There will be 3 that are clustered way up at the top, 2 or 3 or 4 that are way higher than the others. And that'll tell us what businesses feel, because we don't want to spend a whole lot of time on things they don't care about. And I can read quickly through what these things are, and I've sent this out to everyone, and we'll get other copies. So if you think there's something missing here, or there's something here that you don't think should be here, but here's what I said. Set up and promote a Shop Southwick website with free listings for local business. Second, organize roundtables for businesses to brainstorm ideas with each other and with the town representatives. Provide free consultation to help small businesses find resources, tackle a variety of business challenges. So that's the consultation. Upgrade our main business corridors to make them more pleasant and attractive to potential customers. So, you know, making it a place more conducive to business. A lot in the master plan about that. Or help set up job fairs or other venues for recruiting potential employees. Is that what they want help with? Or to be your personal advocate at town hall, helping you navigate issues involving local government. Do they care about that? Promote Southwick as a great recreational destination to help attract more potential customers from a broader area. Do they think we're not promoting our area enough? Hold a small business forum to increase awareness of state resources and funding for local businesses and startups. You know, the grants and the loans and all that. Explore the possibility of setting up a Southwick Chamber of Commerce. I've heard that put out there. Does anybody care about that? Create a broad and ongoing buy local campaign, including locally produced agricultural goods. Just really promote that ongoing way. And other, please specify. Anything you think we should write in other than that? I mean, think about it. We don't have to go into detail here unless you have.
Yeah, I had made a comment, Greg, on the copy that I had.
Yes, about the, there you go.
Yeah, and the comment was on your second page. It's the 6th bullet. Be your personal advocate at town hall, helping you navigate issues involving local government. This could be a little sticky, in my opinion.
Right,
And
I thought about
then
that,
there'd
and
be the legality of it as well.
but it's about navigating, not
Interacting.
not taking an opinion about, you know, obviously we have state laws to follow, we have local bylaws, we have federal laws,
Mhm.
you know, we can't override anything. It's about helping them navigate.
Right.
So the navigation was the primary part of it.
Then maybe pick out the word advocate and put navigate or something along those lines.
That's the most important one on this whole page. So.
And I thought about putting to be your friend.
Your friend. You know, I have no problem with something like that.
I mean, that's what I put first. And I thought,
What's the
well,
problem
was
with
that too?
What's the problem with it saying advocate? I don't understand.
Well, on a legal standpoint,
Yeah.
we'd be giving guidance.
Yeah, advocate has
And
legal,
legality, I don't know if there'd be a compliance concern there.
It depends how you perceive that word, but basically, I mean, navigation at the town hall, you're gonna need a lot of navigation here, but, what other word could be used in advocate? Because that is the most important thing. on this
I
page.
just kept thinking of the guy who said, I feel like the,
Liaison.
Yeah, my other
Liaison.
issue with that would
Okay.
be, we're never gonna be in a position to advocate for every
No,
business in
no.
Coley.
You don't have to navigate. I mean,
No,
advocate, okay?
Right.
But that's where most of the problem is with small business.
And that's when you reflect upon the select board meeting on Monday.
Yeah.
One of the focuses that the select board is looking at right now with Diane Gale's focus is making the town hall a little bit more user friendly. From the website to also walking in, so that they're actually looking about creating, in my world, they're called SOPs, standard operating processes. So that there is a format that you would follow. If you
Right.
need to get a copy of the assessor's report on how to do X, this is where you go.
Correct.
So they're
need to do
working
what?
towards getting there.
So
Not
are
there
we-
yet.
Are we able to, let me just ask this question on that, I like that on the whole page. Are we able to assist someone? Let's say, for instance, someone goes before the board and the board says blah, blah, blah. Cause the boards up there got a lot of opinions. and you're not looking for an opinion, you're looking for zoning regulation.
Right, but there's a mass general law that governs above and beyond opinions.
I understand that, but there's a lot, because there is a lot of the zoning regulations in town have to be cleaned up.
And-
Very, very much so.
Yeah.
So, how about guidance? Can you use the word guidance at the meetings?
We can definitely, at this point, what Greg's doing is creating the very first ever engagement survey to our town businesses.
Yeah, this is I really like this.
This is a start of us opening up lines of communication to the businesses to find out what they want and
Because
how we can maybe support it.
Can I excuse everybody just for one moment? Excuse me, Cindy, how do we mute, a participant? Or a guest? Is there a way?
She may not be actively online.
I'm sure I know.
It's showing she is.
She left her phone on.
Oh, she did, okay. Mr. Brown, can I ask that you, oh, you have, thank you. Never mind. All right, they already muted now. Okay.
Well, anyway,
So this is just our first
I like it.
rendition. In my opinion, when Greg sent it over, the thing that I liked about it is it took me 2 minutes. I put on, if I was a business and I got this, what would it do? And it took me 2 minutes to fill it out.
Short surveys have two advantages. More people take them, and you actually get better opinions in a short survey. If the survey is too long, people get tired and
yeah,
just, yeah,
Right, they're not gonna pay
Don't-
attention to it.
don't focus.
And
I have one request.
what?
Do we have to talk about job fairs yet? Can we give it like a couple of years?
Well, we'll find out if anybody is
Yeah.
interested in that. No, none of this commits us to doing anything.
No, I
We just
know, I
want to
know.
see
I'm being
what
facetious.
people want.
But that's what I do all day long though, Craig.
Yeah, I agree with them 100%.
They told us what they want. We've been the brunt of those
Well,
rejections for a while, so anyway.
we'll find out.
Yeah,
It's a start. Just to piggyback on what you said there, Craig, about the job fairs. Bert Hanson and I made a presentation at the Southwick Granville Tallinn Regional School District, National Honor Society meeting, about a week ago. We met with them at 7 o'clock in the morning and we handed out 11 of our National Honor Society students thank you notes with a little treat inside it for helping at the Open Farm Day. The woman who is in charge of the National Honor Society is their career placement advisor,
Yes, Marianne Margiela.
Marianne
I worked
Margiata.
with her. I worked with her.
She was just thrilled that we did what we did, number one. And then she and I had a brief conversation about, geez, there's some businesses in town that would love to have help. And so she and I are going to be meeting soon. She's traveling at an out-of-state conference as of today, and she and I are going to connect next week about sitting down with her. And I would love to have another member of the EDC come with me to talk about doing internships.
I may do that.
Yeah, okay, perfect, Craig. Because,
We used to do a lot of those with them.
Yes.
yeah,
She does the
'Cause we-
internships, she does all the ones
we
where
pretty
the
much
kids, when they
started.
do the internships at
Yeah.
like the police department, she places them everywhere.
And it's
Yeah.
too bad they can't start getting some feedback from the businesses where they are placed, because we are getting just a boatload of kids that can't even make change and so forth anymore. It is awful. It is awful. I don't know what's going on, but it's just simple math and all. I mean,
yeah,
5 dimes are the same thing as 2 quarters. I mean, that sounds silly,
Right.
but it's
that's
awful.
not silly, Craig.
No,
You're one of many that experience the same thing. So I'm looking at this as a possibility just to bring in some great talent here into town. And as we know with the kids, as we discovered with our National Honor Society, they spread the news. And we've already got quite a few volunteers set up for next year already.
Hmm.
So it's a start. It's a good start. So regarding the engagement survey, I'd like for everyone to, pick up the email that,
I don't have it.
Greg's-
It didn't come through. I put your name and everything. It's not in my junk or anything.
it was
So I
delivered
sent
on,
3 different,
yeah,
you didn't get any of mine.
I got your, I got your, the business, I got the businesses, I got the, I think you said sent commercial, correct? I did, and then otherwise it was just the ones with Pam and I.
Needed stuff.
That one I did not get.
okay, I just sent it to you, Amber.
Okay,
Oh,
And we've got,
I got I got the business properties assessment date and assessment data.
right,
Yeah, I didn't get,
Well, I just sent it,
Perfect,
so you
thank
should
you.
have it. This is something that, in my opinion, because I work for a nonprofit association and we do engagement surveys for very large corporations and small companies as well. And when I shared with the president of the Employers Association of the Northeast, this survey, I asked, what are your opinion? What's your opinion? And then I sent it to our marketing people. What's your opinion? And the response I got was overwhelmingly consistent. Short, to the point, they don't have to write anything, they just have to check boxes.
yeah.
We were gonna ask for their, contact information, obviously.
right. And this is an online survey. They
Um,
just click a link, it takes them to
Takes
the
them right
site,
to it.
click, 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 send.
So feedback was pretty good. They would be surprised if we didn't get a really
That's
good
still
percentage.
successful though, because, with all the cyber training and getting it work and so on, we're all pretty leery of clicking on any
Well,
unsolicited. link.
here's how because we don't have email addresses for these businesses. The way that I recommend doing it is take the mailing addresses, tie this into the launch of a website, which Pam is moving very fast on,
Mhm.
and send out a simple number 10 envelope
Okay.
with
yeah.
hand addressed from Town of Southwick official. And I'm picturing, we'll refine this, but I'm picturing saying something in the outer envelope, respond quickly to get your free listing in Shop Southwick, a new website we're promoting.
Mhm.
And then as part of that, they fill out the survey. They go in, we give them the website,
not-
they go
Okay.
in,
but they're not,
give their,
are we talking about all the businesses? To get all the businesses?
we will go to any businesses that are appropriate that we can
Yeah, but for the shop-
identify.
Well, for the,
Oh,
small
you
business.
started, no, he's talking
This is
about.
not-
the survey,
This is-
oh, okay.
This is
Okay,
for the
right.
survey, but also we want to have a
We
website.
want to create. a
And we talked
business.
about, and Pam isn't here to talk about it. But
Yeah, we met, yeah.
we would have a section of it that would actually get the URL, shopsouthwick.com. It would be one avenue into the website that would be a listing of businesses.
Right,
And in some form or another, we should have a listing available to the public. And we should invite all the businesses to submit their information for that free listing.
Right.
Because that would be a fairly easy thing to set up in a website and have it categorized and
Mhm.
have them have their phone number, their hours, a website link if they have one,
Any
a
promotions they
description
might
of the
be
kind
doing.
of business. I mean, I look
That's
through
overall.
all the list of business. I don't know all those businesses and
Nope.
what they do. And,
No,
it'd be great to have a resource that tells all the businesses available locally. And one way we could promote it is offer signs that they could put in their business or at their checkout that says shopsouthwick.com, have a QR code, whatever, make it
Whatever.
easy for people. I think that would build traffic, just to have it in front
It's a
of
start,
people.
it's a start, because right now we're not bringing traffic anywhere.
Yeah, this
So-
would, once we have those listings up, then just promote it all over the
Right.
place. Maybe we could get a little slot on our town website,
Which,
as being a link to Shop
Right.
Southwick.
right, which is something that we would be working on.
Yeah.
There'd be a lot of ways to drive traffic, because the goal, once you got the listings, to track that traffic and find ways to push it up.
Mark, did you get the email that Greg sent with the survey on it?
I did, and I thought it was excellent. As I think you commented, Cindy, it's short yet comprehensive. I think it does the trick. So I certainly endorse it.
Okay, perfect.
So if we could get, that list together, so I don't know if there's committees that can add to the list that
we
you,
can
that we
create
have to
that.
start one. We have, we just need the name and address and we will send a letter. We will put it all together. I recommend inside this envelope is a simple personalized signed letter that's very straight and to the point. We're starting up a Shop Southwick. We want you to be listed. We also have a 1-minute survey. When you go there to enter your information, click on the link for the survey.
So what you
And-
can do, Greg, since you're already talking about it, create that real short note.
Yeah, just be a
Wordsmith it.
1-page letter.
Yep, wordsmith that 1-page letter
Yeah,
that would go in conjunction with the
right.
survey.
We'll do 2 things. We will build the list for the website
Mhm.
and get them to respond to the survey. And hopefully that will be the last. We'll also get them to opt into email communication so that we won't have to send any letters anymore.
Right,
Cause we have the budget to send 1 set of letters,
I
but
definitely.
we don't want
that's-
to
you got mine.
communicate regularly by post office. We want to communicate by email. And we'll
So,
get their approval to send 2 or 3, a couple of messages a month at most. We won't, and there'll be news, there'll be beneficial messages. It's not selling anything.
And we
So
have
I
to
am gonna
filter
say,
through.
well, we have this list of businesses, but I am gonna say a lot of these, especially College Highway and stuff like that, they're gonna be PO boxes. So you're gonna send them to these and they're not gonna receive them. I'm just letting you know, Michael would we have
Well,
all hand delivered a lot of them because we did not have their PO boxes and we would slowly try
Yeah,
and
I
get their
would say
PO
if
box numbers.
there's, we'll go through this list and if anybody, volunteers to hand deliver to certain businesses, people they know. Yeah. by
was
all
there a
means,
list
save
already
the-
put together?
I think we
Yeah.
had started to try and do that, and we would try and tweak it like every year for different events and different things. So you might want to reach out to Michael and see what he has. Because almost all of the College Highway is all PO boxes.
Yeah,
So while
and
their
this-
addresses are here, so even if we did mail them out,
We just want it for a one-time mailing. You don't want to maintain a mailing address because
right,
want
I
to
understand,
switch
but we
over.
can't get access to, we won't
Well,
have access
but-
to some of the main businesses,
right,
Unless
the
you-
ones, if they are located on College Highway,
which is our main,
People-
which is a lot of our main.
right, we can hand deliver as many as
Correct, which is, yeah,
as we want.
So
I mean,
I can-
that's actually preferable.
yeah,
It's just that if we have a list of
Mhm.
300, that could be daunting to do all of them that way. So I want the option of mailing some.
Right, because I got today from the town hall. I requested information and I got 208 businesses that we have here in town.
And most of those are street address. Okay.
There's some street addresses. And then,
well, yeah, they're all street addresses, there's no PO boxes
no,
on there,
no,
no.
Wall Street.
So
So-
these are their street addresses,
these-
these
Right.
aren't their mailing addresses.
The list I sent out was the assessment list, and I don't think.
No,
that's
and I'm
very
saying
useful at
even,
all.
yeah, even for this too, though, I mean, this is their
There's a lot of them
street address.
missing.
Yeah, there's, first
There's
of all, there's,
also a fair amount of
that's fine.
businesses
Oh, yeah,
that we're missing too.
It's not complete. We
No.
need to,
So
Yeah.
we
that's,
need all
starting
of
fresh,
us
yeah.
need to vet it and
Yeah.
find all the sources.
There's a body shop
I
in
know,
town
Other
here?
one?
pardon?
There's a body shop in town here?
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
right next to Southwick, well, there's one next to the Southwick Inn on the right, well, there used to be, and then there's the one that's across from the Summer House. The old gas station there right next to Roma's.
They're a body shop?
Well, oh, no,
Body
not
shop?
body shop. Oh, no, they're mechanics.
They're
No, I
mechanics.
guess they're mechanics.
There
Body
used to be a
shop?
body shop across the street.
Yeah, it was
Right.
Gales.
But
Oh,
there isn't
Southwick-
no more.
Southwick.
What about
Well,
the
once
one,
again,
yeah,
that
there's-
list has only 208 businesses in it, and Serena's business wasn't even listed on it. So, and then you've got the
I don't think
assessors
yours is
list,
on there.
That was,
right,
Southwick Insurance isn't on there.
right.
Hold on.
Well, do you know, what they said these that have business certificates? Well, I got one 34 years ago. I never was asked to renew it or anything like that. Were you?
No,
You only do it
So-
once.
That's what I
No,
thought, but
But they
it's
don't
like
keep
some of
them.
those are expired.
Yeah, they-
And she doesn't know. She goes, well, we weren't keeping records back then.
Yeah,
Maybe the assessors
Yeah,
will have it.
you need a
So-
certificate.
I
of
almost
order.
choked when I,
so what,
The assessors gave me that list that I sent out, which wasn't very useful. It's,
No.
it's business properties,
properties.
not
Not actual
necessarily the
businesses.
businesses.
So as of right now, the only real list that we've been able to get from the town is what is being circulated right now. That's
I
gonna
think we
be,
had that before.
that's gonna be like our template.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to Mike and ask him if he kept that material for the PO boxes for the College Highway corridor. But if not, then my recommendation is we're gonna put boots on the ground. And we're going to hand deliver.
Well, and we'll
College Highway.
search online for missing businesses, because there are websites, there's things you look up. There's even a National Chamber of Commerce that has some business listings in Southwick.
That's gonna
There's-
be a lot of time though.
Craig, are you
Fred.
on there? I don't think you're on there.
And then
Well,
just ask Michael,
nothing.
start off by
Yeah.
asking Michael and see what he has, because he
Yeah.
used to mail out to all, you know, when we did our home and business show, I mean, we had a multitude of businesses we would send out to,
And
as many as possible.
Right.
so.
So you
You
got that
guys
from the
don't-
town net? What?
this was sent to me directly and I then forwarded
Think
it
that they would
to
know.
everyone.
And I
here.
called her too.
Yeah, I forwarded it to everyone. This
I've
is what
spent
was
some
sent to
time
me.
trying to line it up.
So I
for you.
would, yeah,
So,
reach out and see what he has.
so this is at least our initial stab at what the town has for businesses. Now,
what does the town
obviously,
use that for?
when somebody puts a request for information like I did for all of our businesses in town, and I wanted addresses, phone numbers, emails, whatever they had, and this is,
Inception and all that.
this is what was sent.
So they
So,
only use that for RFI? They
pardon,
only use that for requests?
when I put through the request for information for our town businesses, this is what was given
But
to me.
what do they use it for? They must have a different use of that.
For people that have businesses, because you have to put through for your certification, businesses have to be certified.
Trade name certification, man?
It's under the
She said a
name-
lot of those are DBA, she told me, I talked to her.
Yeah, so any business that's in town that is licensed to run a business is on this list.
But that's,
But then Serena wasn't on the
You have a
list.
license?
I wasn't.
No, that's, I actually
You don't
don't,
have a license.
I don't believe that's
so that,
quite correct.
cause then
Okay.
she said if someone needs to, like,
No,
like, a
the,
bank needs to
the
get
purpose-
someone to cash a check.
the purpose of a business license is for consumers to be able to track down who owns the business in case they ever have an issue or complain with the
A
business.
lot of businesses don't need licenses, don't
Well,
they?
however,
Well, like
if
the
you're
Attorney
incorporated,
General or
if you're
Secretary
incorporated
of
or an
Corporation,
LLC, you
that's in
don't
the
need a
mass
business
database.
Right, but-
because you're registered with the Secretary of State.
Yeah, so you go in, you get a trade name certificate if you're a sole proprietor. So you do a trade
Yes,
name
actually,
certificate.
I was a trade name when I first.
Yeah,
opened.
trade name
Yeah.
certificate,
And that would go through.
but
the
then they
town.
go away, like that list is meaningless, cause not
I know what the
everybody's on
towns
there.
have you renew every 4 years.
Those have expiration dates on it.
Yeah, our business will continue.
So this is what I've gotten. Does anybody have any other ideas how to get another list here?
No, it's just crazy, I find it crazy they don't.
I think Michael's list is much more meaningful.
I
than the one that
agree,
we had.
I agree. So, yeah, let's get that, yeah.
Okay,
Because
now,
we vetted that as well. I mean,
Yeah, we,
different times.
okay, so I'll contact Mike. But there's no chance that you folks who've been on the commission have a copy of the
No.
most recent one.
no,
Okay,
Well, I'll look through my.
yeah,
folder.
Okay.
I'll look through, I have another folder.
okay, so continuing with our agenda. Pam's traveling on business, but I know that Amber, Greg, and Pam have had breakout sessions regarding our website. Does anyone want to give a quick 2-minute recap as to where you
So-
are in process?
So she sent stuff back and forth. We kind of did little inputs here and there. She put another one in. We're in the process. We're meeting next week again, I believe. I think we,
Finalize that.
yeah, I think we had put in for next week. So we're meeting next week again to, just kind of see Yeah, the 26th.
So can somebody fill me in on, I'm a little fuzzy where we left off with the motions and stuff with respect to Southwoods and how this interfaces with all that. What, I mean, and our commitment as far as any contract.
And what happened, and we're trying to figure out too, what happens with that $1,500? Like,
Right now, what we're doing is seeing what Pam can come up with and how user-friendly it would be for us to be able to manage it ourselves. Once we understand the capabilities there, then I'm going to talk with the select board about how that 1,500 was appropriated in fiscal year 23, and it's not been used. So how can we work with that money? Is it lost or what? Because
Roll it
nothing
over.
had been done to the money.
So we'll roll it over.
I heard it
All through
goes
the
back,
budget.
I heard we don't
No.
have it.
I
No.
They won't let you roll it.
no, we don't roll, no, none of our funds get rolled
None
over
of
if we don't
gets
use
rolled
it.
over. And the way when I got from the town hall, when I met with accounting, and they gave me my budget. It was $1,500 was earmarked for the website hardware,
Specifically, yeah.
and then $2,000 is left. But I don't have the answer because I want to find out what Pam does first
Yeah. So,
and understand her
So the bigger
capabilities.
issue is our relationship with Southwood. What are the expectations there and?
With Southwoods, I have worked with them for the past 30 years.
No, I mean, with respect to our representations to them,
Right. As of right now, I have already talked to Carol and shared with her that the EDC is going through a transformation and that I'm not sure what our commitment to them is going to be regarding the website. So we're in a holding pattern right now. And it's unfortunate that we could possibly lose that money of 1,500.
I didn't know if
But-
they'd done any work at all or not. They have not done anything.
Initially, when I had, as a private citizen, come to the EDC meetings about the importance of doing a website, all that we had at that time was Martin put together that presentation that he presented to you all back in, I think, April. And what their capabilities would be, along with also the cost value. So that's all that Southwoods has done at this time.
which is why we had asked for that money
Right.
and asked for the $1,500,
Yes.
receive the $1,500. Because we were budgeting, trying to figure out what our budget was for that. We had some money left over
That's right.
and we were gonna put that towards it in the interim of receiving the potential 1,500, the money. And that would have gotten us through, but we lost that money at this point. That I think we had like $700 or $800.
Mhm.
And so we lost that money because we never actually used it.
Right.
And then we'd gotten, yeah.
But the one thing that I can assure the commission is that when it comes to the money that we have asked for and we've been given it, we're not gonna ever lose it. This is what's been inherited. But in my opinion, one of the things that we're going to, I'm gonna
What?
put
I
through.
thought we
No,
lost
we
it.
lose it. So the
Right,
$2,000, if we don't use it, we lose it.
Right, we're gonna
Oh.
lose it. But that's where, right now, we're looking at, we have until June 30th of next year to spend, because we're fiscal year. So we have until in June 30th. Right now, the way our budget looks, we have $2,000 we have to spend.
Right, and so the Westfield Chamber of Commerce, do you know what that dues is for that? Do you recall?
I don't
I
have
would
that
ask,
listed here.
I would ask, can you ask Michael that as well, or you met with her? You're gonna
I'll deal with Laura.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
So
so,
that's gonna be definitely something.
and that's something where we have to decide if that's even beneficial. I'm meeting with the executive director of the Westfield Chamber on this Friday at 11 a.m. to
Okay.
understand what the relationship is and how we can partner together, how we can maybe do ribbon cuttings and stuff
Right.
together.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
and I want to have a couple of designees that are going to go to these chamber events too.
But we've, all, I mean, so the 1,500 or the 2,000 is by June of next year.
Correct.
So, I mean, we've also talked about contests and all that kind of stuff, so I'm not worried about the 2,000.
Nope.
But when I think about the $1,500, I'm not sure, again, we'll have to wait and see what Pam's exposure is with all of this. But I'm thinking at some point, if we don't use Southwoods at all, or we use them in a small way, I'm just thinking for the time that they spend or whatever, maybe just a little bit of that $1,500 maybe should go.
I agree.
Okay.
And that's something that we would vote on,
To
Okay.
them.
All right.
right, for the time that they did spend
Okay.
in putting together that
Correct.
promotion. I know Martin had quoted, I want to say it was like $80
Oh.
an hour to,
Update. So it was, there was an original
I've got it right
cost and then
here.
it was like $80 an hour to update.
yep,
Yeah.
I've got it right here.
Yeah. I probably did.
To create a simple website that can be easily edited by the EDC. Editing platform would be WordPress. Initial setup cost approximately $480. No monthly fees unless we need to make edits for you. Annual domain hosting renewal as $100 per year, tax exempt. Anything that he had to do above and beyond that on a monthly basis, he would charge us an hourly rate of $80. If we only used him for a half hour, he would only charge us $40.
So you find out how much
So-
time they put into this proposal.
Right, exactly. And then cut a check based
Yeah,
on that.
Yeah.
Now, I need to find out, because I'm not part of the little committee, if we have the domain, who owns the domain?
Right.
And then what would the cost be for us to own that? Or do we give it to Southwoods and have them handle
No,
the
we
domain?
should own the domain. It's not expensive.
Yeah, so,
We
so
should buy
that's
a
to be.
couple
And the
domains.
town can't pay for that,
No,
No,
they
no,
gave
it
us the
should be part,
They
$1,500.
gave us-
so we still have to. be
right, it's part of
independent.
that.
Yeah.
Well,
It's not,
Doesn't make sense.
I know.
No, no,
You know
so
what I mean?
this
It
is-
doesn't make sense.
No,
Yeah.
so this is to be determined, but I'm in total agreement with
Yeah.
what you're thinking there, Craig, because I don't ever want to burn a bridge, and I adore them as a.
It just seems like unfinished business at this point, and I don't know all the ins and outs of what's happening, but, and we, I will say this, that, I think that they have some very good ideas that I'm sure they're going to discuss with us at some point in the future with respect to EDC and ways that they can help
Oh,
assist us, so maybe there's a way that we can
So some
Iron
of,
it all out at
so,
that point.
so some of the $2,000 typically during the past years, you know, besides the Westfield Chamber of Commerce dues, a lot of it went to like sign making and different things like
Right.
that. I know Michael would like to use a couple different
Right.
options for it, but, you know, Southwoods could be one. I know Southwoods has put in some of our events, you know, at no cost
They have.
for us,
Yep.
over the years. So, you know, I think that's,
Yeah.
they've actually got some very good ideas, well, I'll let them
Mhm.
speak to that, so.
yeah.
yeah,
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 well, listen,
so,
yeah, we'll need money for the mailing we're talking about, and we need some signs to promote. I think that'll be the most efficient way to promote the website is signage around town.
correct. So, and we've got great connections with that already. So, website update, then we'll expect something on our next meeting regarding where we are with that status, but we're, from what it sounds like, you guys are definitely making some headway. I've already talked about the Westfield Chamber Executive Director. She and I are meeting on Friday. So that's all our old business. New business. Frank, I know that you had committed to going to the planning board meeting
Yeah, I
on
never made it.
October 10th. You didn't make it?
No,
Okay.
I
And
watched most of that on video.
We can watch,
I
yeah,
was-
we can watch it.
I
was
was,
there anything that jumped out at you, Greg?
I was most interested in what they commented on the master plan. They didn't get to it to the last 3 minutes of the meeting, and then they just basically said, wow, that's something we'll have to
Right.
look into.
And that's gonna be being carried under old business going forward every meeting that the planning board has. So you're never gonna see the master plan on new business. It's gonna go under old business. And they do have a meeting tomorrow night. And that's at 7 o'clock. And, or actually, no, excuse me, it's the Master Plan Advisory Committee is tomorrow night, the 19th at 7. And they're wanting any public comments regarding, the master plan. So, I'm not gonna be attending that meeting because I've already stressed my support to it. But if anybody wants to go to the Master Plan Advisory meeting, it's tomorrow at 7, and that's upstairs. Let's see here. I've already mentioned about the master plan presentation at the planning board. And what I'd like to talk about at this point would be attending meetings. My opinion only is I think it's great to go there in person so they can actually see you, and you can make a public comment as a private citizen if you wish to, but it's important to show support. I would like to see who would be willing to make commitments to go to the planning board meetings, Park and Rec. I think it's going to be important to be aware of what they're doing because we're going to be looking at hosting some potential events down the road. I'm looking about, let's start thinking about doing a farmer's market going into the spring of next year. Lisa Anderson is pulling for me all the information as to what has to go to create one. And it's probably going to go from the select board to the Board of Health. So I'm in motion with doing that, but I think with Park and Rec, it'd be good to have presence. Definitely the Historical Society. There's events that we could piggyback with them to promote the history of Southwick. Obviously, and the assessor's office. The data, if anybody looked at what Greg shared with us about the assessors, it just doesn't, I don't understand it. I don't understand how they can take a value of a building and have it be valued as much as a home. That's very large. And Greg, maybe you can give an exact example.
Well, Craig, talk more about but the examples, like, I look at the very town center here, I just spot check different ones, and these, what I would think the highest value retail property and for small shops and types of things, like I never get the name of it right, but the red furniture.
Country Colonial.
Country Colonial. They're, I think, 4 times the size of my house, and they're valued for, I think, equal to my house. And they're right there as commercial property. And
Right.
I don't know how they value market rates, because it seems like a lot of them are way
That's a
below what
very
they
old
would sell
building.
for.
Right, it's very
Very
old,
old.
and it's
That's
not like, there's not like,
permit.
there's not like air conditioning and
Actually, they
heating.
do
Well,
now.
they do now,
They
but,
Oh,
do
yeah,
now.
they do.
but, you
No,
know,
but I'm
this is
talking about
where-
location
right,
and what
but
it would
that's,
sell
it's
for.
considered retail versus, yeah.
But
this
again,
is-
it's supposed to be the market price.
Right,
And
so
I see a lot of things that are, you know, I have to imagine would sell for a whole lot more.
that's where what I would like to do is, I don't know how they assess the property in commercial. And if we're going to start.
Fit right in.
So that's where, I'm going to start going to a couple of their meetings and asking some questions. To start gathering that knowledge that I just don't have, because I'm not in town government. So, so that's where I think it's important for us to look at the other commissions and boards that are happening and look at what we can do as a time commitment. And I know that it's a time commitment, but if we want to have the select board look at the EDC as offering credibility, and we can be proud to come to these meetings and know that we're moving forward, that's my main objective. So I'd like for you all to really think about the different boards and commissions that are out there, look on the website, see what their meeting times and dates are, and let me know on the next meeting what you would like to commit to. And it doesn't have to be on a consistent basis, but if it's even just say once a month, and then we can listen to the recordings, but I do want to see a presence at these meetings, within reason.
Mhm.
Serena, you passed over to me at our very first meeting, this article.
Yes.
And I've read it a few times, and it's all about Westfield has, under the direction of this one woman, created Westfield Merchants Association. And she's so grassroots, it's not funny. And what I'd like to pass back over to you, Serena,
Mhm.
is would you be able to copy that article
Mhm.
and then send it to the rest of the team?
Mhm.
And I'd like to see if you would be willing to give her a call
Mhm.
and ask her to come to one of our meetings as a
Sure.
guest. Because what I'd like her to do is to talk about how she created this Merchants Association, to see if that's something that we, the EDC, could look about doing as well. And a lot of them are artisans. And we have a lot of them, some little pockets of that here in town already. But maybe we could do this where it's either, obviously you have to be careful of the seasonals, weather, they could be outdoors in conjunction with other events that happen in town, from the Daily Grind doing events, how we could piggyback with them, Parks and Rec, how we could piggyback with them, and then creating maybe our own farmers market. So it's a great opportunity to at least just gather some more information, see how we can support our businesses. So,
Well, this is very similar to what we did years ago, the Celtic Association of Merchants. We had a
okay.
group together. I was a president, I was a treasurer, and secretary. Craig was
So
on
it's
that
meant to
too.
be.
Yeah, so we did this before, and we had to dissolve it because the businesses really didn't want to participate, right, Craig?
Right. You know, start off
Not
with
to be
Sam,
negative,
right?
Or
So-
Sam, right?
And then, yeah.
And-
Then Sam,
And we
but,
started the, that education thing up at the high school too.
Yeah,
The, what do you call it? BEA,
Internships? Okay.
Business Education Alliance. We started that too, our group. Brian Johnson
Right.
and remember?
so I don't think that these things are not doable, it's just that sometimes it's a curse to be 5 or 10 years ahead of, ahead of things, and maybe that was the case with some of the stuff, I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe the time is right now, but how would you envision this, functioning along the side of EDC?
well, it would be promoting economic growth by having these events and bringing people in from the community to spend money. And an opportunity for like a Carolyn Avery, who came here for that first meeting 5-6 weeks ago, and talk about how she can get her craft out to the public as well, because where she lives, people aren't going to come there.
Mhm.
So maybe it's not a merchants group, maybe it's looking at artisans and tap into that demographic here in town, if there is a need for it. I know that there's that retail space behind where the Designer's Edge is, and there's a woman back there who is allowing consignment from our local crafty people here in town to sell their products there. Maybe this here would just bring it to a larger scope, because you've got a pocket there, you've got a pocket up at the bar shop as well. So if there's a need for it, and obviously they're doing well, maybe we create a mini association that can prosper from it and promote it.
So does she work in conjunction with the chamber or no?
They work separately, from what I remember. I haven't read this in a while, right? It's separate,
It's
yeah,
a separate entity.
right, yeah.
But it would be just good to see, because we're going to, when we start talking to our businesses, they're gonna start asking us about, well, is there a possibility to create this kind of a forum? Or to create a small business association? At least if we have this point of contact and find out how she did it,
Mhm.
and what were the experiences, you know, the takeaways from it, the pros and cons. It's just, to me, it's creative, it's grassroots, and it's all about stimulating growth, healthy growth for the merchants. But Westfield, can't compare Southwick to Westfield. It's a different beast when it comes to retail and businesses. But maybe we can learn something from her.
We talk about comparing, I heard the stat today, and it's just fresh in my mind, that's why I gotta say it, because I won't remember tomorrow, but that and I don't know whose poll it was, but apparently there's some demographics that can talk about the likability of small rural towns. And I was amazed to hear that, you know, on a scale of 1 to 100, we're right at 47. And I just wondered why that is. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not aware of what you're talking about,
Yeah,
Fred.
okay, all right, I'll have to look into it more, but, I was really surprised. One of the big things was, which we don't care about is, you know, as much, is, you know, the public transportation for obvious reasons. But that can be offset by other, you know, credits and so forth, and we just don't have them. So I was really amazed when, you know, we tout ourselves as being a very likable town. I was really surprised to see that.
And where did that information come
I'll
from?
have to get that to you.
Okay,
There are a lot of different rankings of the best and worst towns in the state. It all depends on what metrics that go into that.
I understand, it's still troubling, I mean, there's certain metrics.
I'm
Well, you
gonna,
know,
I'm gonna
real
tell,
estate, right?
from real estate, and I'm gonna tell you, in general, just from moving to this town over 20 years ago, from the other side of the river, that's what we call it, right? For some reason, that river is some kind of like barrier. Nobody wants to come over, even though from downtown Springfield, you can get to Southwick in what, 17 minutes probably? Well,
going down Berry Street.
yeah, I mean, you know, you can hit a bunch of places. It is some kind of barrier. Nobody wants to like come over the river. Now, my husband and I, because we were from over there, doesn't bother us. We always are going over the
Mhm.
river, right? But they don't want to come this way.
Yeah,
There's some sort of like, I don't know what we're so far
Like the
out.
western part of the state.
It's so far away,
There
you
is-
know,
There
it's
is one
just.
there is one thing though that contributed is, and that is our high taxes in the town, as we were talking about those. And the disproportionate, you know, that we were just alluding to a little while ago, that played a big part in this. I don't want to say confusion, maybe I'll say it. As far as our property taxes, so I did see that, but I will.
yeah, that'd be great to see where you're getting that information from, Craig. But I have to say, just to piggyback with what Amber said, when we did the open farm day, we had a volunteer that would ask every family that came, where did you come from? And it was amazing how many people were from Springfield and East Long Meadow. We pulled people in, we did quite a bit of advertising, but for an event that drove people to the farms, they came. So hopefully, when we start looking at putting the message out, we can maybe hit a couple of those veins that did draw people in. But that's beyond where we are at this point as well. But and going back to the original presentation on the agenda there, Serena, if you can contact her
I will.
and share with us that article,
Sure.
it's just an opportunity to
And
get
invite her to
somebody's.
the next meeting?
I thought the next meeting, are we inviting the selectmen to the next meeting?
Well, the select board is gonna be the first option,
Okay.
that's what I want
Okay,
in
okay.
first. And I've also offered for Mary Ann to come to that meeting as well.
Okay,
She would rather come to a meeting than go for a coffee. So, but we can have a couple of different guests at a meeting. But for her, we might want to look at doing that the first of the year.
All right, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yep. So,
Yeah, I
So-
don't think it's all that bad as far as just 46. I think it's, the reason I mention it is I think that we need to find out what our Achilles heel is. I mean, we stand around and we say, oh, aren't the lakes great and we're a recreational community, but apparently that's not enough to offset whatever
Yeah,
goes into this debt, you know, so I
Right.
think we need to be aware of what that is as we try to, you know, accomplish our mission.
I
here.
think,
yeah, I agree. Craig.
personally, I'm new to Southwick, but I know a lot about Southwick. And, number one, business aspects, it's not desirable to come here. Cause you get a lot of pushback from upstairs. It's a nightmare. But the lake area used to be something so special.
Mhm.
And I hate to keep talking about the lake.
Mhm.
It's really not that special about it right now. It's not. There's nothing
No.
special about it. It's nasty, dirty. I wouldn't even swim in it. It was closed down how many times this year?
Really,
Businesses are just falling
There's
in.
no business.
There's
there
no
anymore.
help upstairs. No one's helping anybody, guiding anybody. It's just, it's a shame.
Well,
Now,
it's
there's a
important
new, something going on over there. I haven't found out what it is yet, but I'm going to, and there was another bar that was over there and that all caved in. I don't know the name of it. Remember a little red building next to,
Oh, the Hideaway, or was it the Hideaway?
I can't
On the
remember what it
lake?
was, but it did hide away because it went right into the basement. And then that disappeared and now they just put up a new foundation. And I'm hearing that it's gonna be a breakfast place, but it's about this big, with no parking.
Yeah.
But they tell me that used to be something and they used to park across the street. I
I'm
don't know
not sure
that.
what you're talking about, but.
Are you on Middle Pond?
No, I'm sorry. I'm on Point Grove Road,
Oh, Point Grove Road. Oh, it used to be the Hilltop Cafe, probably.
Hilltop.
Yep,
Yeah.
So we're,
Across the street kind of from Louis V's was, and yeah.
we're 8 minutes past our time, and it's amazing how much we've gotten done within the past 2 hours. Last couple of things I just want to mention. I've had somebody approach me in regards to a holiday stroll in town. They've thought that that's something that would be great to do in the community. Do it around Christmas, obviously, when our lights are all aglow in town. And it would be starting at the Southwick Town, well, Town Green, I guess we can call it, the town center there at the Methodist Church, or the Congregational Church rather. And see about having high school students choir sing, maybe have a historical society involved with their historical garb, but open it as a holiday stroll. So in the center of town, the businesses that want to be open from say 4 to 6 o'clock on an evening and do it during the week, they could serve mulled cider, hand out cookies, but bring people in to shop the businesses, but start off in the center of the green with a choir.
Right,
Like
I-
luminaries,
I-
something like
Can I-
that, yeah.
So I'm gonna suggest that you ask, when you meet with the Westfield Chamber on Friday, talk to them because they do
They do
similar
that, yes,
things.
they do.
Something
And
very
we've
similar.
always tried to talk to them and try and get ideas, but again, business participation.
Mhm.
It just
Stiffsbury,
didn't,
Connecticut has exactly what you're talking
Yeah.
about. They actually closed the road. And it is.
But we can't
it-
close the main
Right,
highway.
right.
No, no, it's one- no, they do, 10 and 202, they close it. And all the businesses come, it's amazing.
Yeah, and logistically, they're set up to be able to have
We got the
that
other road,
happen.
Yeah,
But for us, we're not as user friendly
Yeah,
of a main strip in the center, in our center of town.
gotcha.
It would be a select group of businesses, and then I'm thinking the other night, waking up thinking about it. If somebody has a problem walking, hence that stroll piece, do we get a trolley
Right,
to transport people, maybe as far down as the Southwick Forest?
yeah.
So I don't know if this year is gonna be too quick to turn something around. In my opinion, I think it could be a little too
Mhm.
soon.
logistically, yeah.
To be able to put all the pieces in place, but I think it's a great idea for us to think about going into
Yeah, it's a good
24
time.
and start off, granted, like a holiday stroll. But Craig has brought up something this past year about beautification, business beautification. And we have some businesses that don't take as much pride as others do.
Mhm.
So maybe we could do some type of a campaign in the spring, plan it ahead of time, where there is a spring stroll. And these participants that come can also put in a bucket or a ticket, something, however we want to account for it, who they think the best presentation of the outside of their business was
Yeah.
for that promotion. And maybe do it in conjunction with like a little mini farmer's market in the center of town. So these are things that I honestly believe we can do. And it can be supported. And then whoever has the best vote for their beautification of their building gets a gift certificate. So these are things that we can just start thinking about. But for this year, I said I would put it on the agenda. But in my opinion, I think it might be too soon for us to plan that when we're starting, when we want to get our website up, our engagement survey, understand the businesses and understand what the select board wants us to, what their vision is for us. So I'd like to make a motion to put this on the calendar for next year. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Amber, you had a question?
Yes, I just wanted to mention, because you were talking about artisans and stuff, when they do the tree lighting, when they do all the trees and
Oh, in front of the.
in the front of the town hall, and they have all the craft fair here. That might be something, usually Michael's here with a table as well, for the EDC, but it might, we might want to see in conjunction with them as well, if we can do some sort of something or reach out to some of those artisans that you were talking about.
Well, the tree lighting is in conjunction with the craft fair that happens here.
Correct.
So those artisans would probably be here already.
Is it the Lions that does that?
I'm not sure who does it, and that's the thing, is I'm not
Rotary?
positive who does it.
Okay,
It
so
might
I'll
be the
find out.
Rotary who does it,
I'll
and
find
we
out
can
who
find
posts
out,
it.
and we can see if any of the, okay.
Well, if nothing else, it'd be a networking event, right, to see if there would be any interest in something like this, right?
Right,
And also an opportunity to capture maybe some email addresses from people
That's
that
what I
own
mean.
businesses in town.
yep,
So, okay, I'll find out when that date is. And, last on the agenda, I did, ask the, select board, I believe I mentioned that earlier also, to, have a Facebook presence. And we'll get their response for the next meeting. So, first off, any comments? Mark, any comments?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Did you have that
Okay.
motion? Did we
Next,
take?
I just want to see if, is there anybody else have anything that they want to say or add pertaining to our agenda tonight? No.
I do, but it'll take about 15 minutes. I'll come on.
Okay, you can email me that, okay? So, do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll second.
Okay, meeting is adjourned.
You're gonna